Chosen one, what if I told you that your pain wasn't meant to break you? They never wanted you to know this, but you're being rebuilt into something unshakable. For so long, you felt like life has shattered you into pieces. The betrayals, the setbacks, the losses, they've been relentless. You've questioned whether you were cursed, whether you were simply doomed to suffer while everyone else seemed to move forward with ease. They wanted you to believe that you were broken beyond repair, that your hardships meant you were weak. But here's what they never wanted you to know. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. Every single piece of your old life that was stripped away was necessary for what is being constructed in its place. Your pain wasn't random, it was preparation. You weren't being punished, you were being transformed. Many chosen ones go through intense suffering before they realize who they truly are. It feels like your entire world is collapsing, but in reality, it's being restructured. The relationships that failed, the opportunities that slipped away, the isolation you endured, it was all part of a greater plan. They didn't want you to see that you had to be broken down in order to rise into your full power. But now, the truth is coming to light. Everything that once felt like destruction was actually a divine reconstruction. And once you understand this, everything will change. In this video, you're going to discover why your suffering was necessary, the signs that you are being rebuilt, and how to step fully into the unshakable force you are meant to be. If this message already resonates with you, like this video and comment 77 below. Let the unseen world know that you are no longer a victim. You are a survivor stepping into power. Stay with me until the end, because once you hear this truth, you will never see your struggles the same way again. Why you had to be broken first. Have you ever felt like life was tearing you apart piece by piece? Like every time you took a step forward, something came crashing down to push you 2 steps back? You tried to hold everything together, but no matter how hard you fought, things kept falling apart. The relationships that once felt unshakable crumbled. The plans you had for your future shattered. You lost things you thought you couldn't live without. And in those moments of deep pain, of loneliness, of confusion, they wanted you to believe that you were being punished, that you were broken beyond repair. But here's the truth they never wanted you to realize. You were never broken. You were being stripped down so that you could be rebuilt into something unshakable. Everything that left, everything that was taken away, was never meant to go with you into the next season of your life. What felt like destruction was actually preparation. At the time, it didn't make sense. You wondered why you had to go through so much suffering, why your journey was filled with so much loss and opposition. Felt unfair, felt like the world was against you, and the worst part, the people around you didn't understand. They called you unlucky, or weak, or too sensitive. They dismissed your pain, making you feel even more isolated. But deep down, something in you knew there was more to your suffering, that there had to be a reason why your life was so different from everyone else's. What you didn't realize back then was that you were being set apart. The pain wasn't there to destroy you, it was shaping you. You see, the greatest warriors are never made in comfort. The most powerful souls are never built through ease. If you had never been betrayed, you wouldn't have gained the discernment to see through deception. If you had never lost everything, you wouldn't have discovered what truly mattered. If you had never walked alone, you wouldn't have learned how to stand in your own power. The world needed to break you out of everything that was keeping you small, keeping you blind, keeping you from seeing the truth about who you are. And here's the proof. Zechariah 13 verse 9 says, "And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried." When God chooses someone for something greater, they are not given an easy path. They are sent through the fire, and not just once, over and over again until every weak part, every illusion, every false attachment is burned away. The process is painful, yes. It feels like you are being torn apart, like nothing is stable, like everything you once relied on is disappearing. But that's because what you were standing on before was never truly solid. It had to be removed so that you could be rebuilt on an unshakable foundation. That's why certain people turned against you. That's why certain doors closed. That's why the things you once clung to were taken away, because they were not part of the version of you that God was creating. You were never meant to stay the same. You were meant to evolve, to transform, to step into a strength you never even knew you had. And the only way to get there was to be stripped down first. And now you are starting to feel it. The shift. The realization that what once broke you no longer has power over you. The pain that used to consume you is now turning into wisdom. The struggles that once made you feel helpless are now proof of how far you've come. You look back at the things that once shattered you, and instead of feeling broken, you feel stronger. Instead of feeling lost, you feel guided. This is the transformation. This is what they never wanted you to reach. They hoped you would stay stuck in the suffering, believing that you were broken. But now you see the truth. You were never broken. You were always being refined, rebuilt, made into something indestructible. And because of that, nothing can ever shake you again. You've seen the worst. You've survived what was meant to destroy you. And now you are stepping into a version of yourself that is untouchable. But here's the key: you have to embrace it. You have to stop looking at yourself through the lens of your past pain. You are no longer that person. You are no longer the victim. You are no longer fragile. You are no longer the one searching for answers. You are the answer. You are walking proof that pain can be transformed into power. That loss can lead to gain. That suffering can create something unstoppable. So now the only question is, will you claim it? Will you own the strength you have fought so hard to gain? Because the moment you do, the past loses its grip on you. The pain no longer defines you. You walk with a new energy, a new confidence, a new authority. You no longer shrink to fit into spaces that are too small for you. You no longer entertain people who drain your spirit. You no longer allow fear to control you, because you finally understand who you are. If you know deep in your spirit that everything you went through was for a reason, if you feel the shift happening in your life right now, comment "refined" below. Let the unseen world know that you are no longer broken, no longer lost, no longer held back by your past. You have been through the fire, and now you are rising stronger than ever. And in the next section, I'll show you the signs that you are already being rebuilt into something unshakable. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal will confirm everything you've been feeling but couldn't put into words. Signs that you are being rebuilt. Have you been feeling like your world is shifting in ways you don't quite understand? Like the things that once made sense no longer feel right, and the people you once relied on suddenly seem distant? It's unsettling, almost like you're losing yourself. But what's actually happening is something powerful. You are not being abandoned, you are being rebuilt. The old version of you, the one that was shaped by trauma, by fear, by the expectations of others, is falling away. And that's why everything feels so strange. You are being prepared for something greater, and what no longer serves you cannot come with you. They never told you that growth feels like loss at first. That before you can step into your power, you have to let go of everything that was keeping you from it. This is not destruction, it is transformation in motion. But here's where it gets difficult. The people who once understood you suddenly don't. The places where you used to feel comfortable now drain you. Conversations that you once engaged in feel meaningless. You start seeing through people's true intentions, and some of the relationships you thought would last forever begin to dissolve. You may even feel a deep sense of loneliness, as if you are being pulled away from the world. And in a way, you are. This is one of the first signs that you are being reconstructed. Your spirit is shifting, detaching from anything that is no longer aligned with your highest calling. This part is painful because you are grieving the loss of an identity you no longer fit into. The friendships, the mindsets, the habits, they were all built for the old you. But you are not that person anymore. And while it may feel like you are losing everything, what is really happening is that you are making space for something better. This is exactly what Isaiah 43 verse 19 speaks about when it says, "Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it?" This scripture is more than just words. It is a spiritual law. When God begins to rebuild you, the old version of you is erased. You may try to go back to familiar places, but they will no longer feel the same. You may try to reconnect with certain people, but the energy will be different. This is because you are being elevated, and anything that was built on a lower foundation cannot sustain you anymore. It may feel like confusion, but it's actually clarity. The things that used to hold you back are being removed, and though the process is uncomfortable, it is necessary. You are stepping into something new, something greater. But first, you have to allow the old things to fall away. And here's how you know that you are truly being rebuilt. Your perspective starts changing. What once looked like loss now feels like freedom. The things that used to trigger you no longer have power over you. The emotions that once consumed you no longer dictate your actions. The people who walked away, you begin to see that they were not meant to stay. The opportunities that didn't work out, you realize they would have only held you back. And the suffering you endured, you start to recognize that it was shaping you into someone stronger. Your spirit is rising above the chaos. You are no longer controlled by external circumstances. You are no longer reacting to everything that happens around you. Instead, you are standing firm, knowing that everything is working in your favor. This is divine intervention at work. The rebuilding process is not just about removing the things that no longer serve you. It is about creating something unshakable in their place. Now, the key is to trust the process. You are not being punished. You are not being rejected. You are being redirected. Everything is aligning exactly as it should be, and though you may not see the full picture yet, you will. There will come a day when you look back at this season of your life and realize that every loss was actually a gain. Every goodbye was a blessing. Every moment of uncertainty was leading you towards something far greater than you could have imagined. But right now, your only job is to keep going, to keep trusting, to keep allowing yourself to evolve. The discomfort will pass. The loneliness will fade. And what will be left is the strongest, most unshakable version of yourself. If you've been noticing these shifts in your life, if you felt the pull away from the old and into something new, comment transformed below. Let the unseen world know that you are no longer resisting your growth, that you are stepping into your divine reconstruction. And in the next section, I'll reveal why your pain had a purpose and why it had to happen exactly the way it did. Stay with me, because this truth will change everything. They never wanted you to know that your suffering was intentional, that everything you endured had meaning, that what felt like destruction was actually reconstruction. But now the truth is being revealed. If this message is reaching you, subscribe now, share this video, and if you feel led, click the super thanks button to support. The enemy tried to keep this knowledge hidden, but it's time for you to walk in clarity. Now let's keep going. The purpose behind your pain. There were moments when the pain felt unbearable. Times when you questioned if you would ever feel whole again. The betrayals, the heartbreaks, the disappointments, they all left scars, and for a long time, you carried them like proof that you were broken. They wanted you to believe that your suffering was meaningless, that life had simply been unfair to you, that you were destined to struggle. But what they never told you is that your pain was not a punishment. It was a preparation. You were never meant to stay in that suffering. You were meant to rise from it, stronger, wiser, more powerful than before. The pain did not break you. It built you. And now, as you start to emerge from the storm, you are realizing that everything you went through was part of a greater plan. Every wound, every tear, every loss, it was all leading you to this moment of transformation. But in the middle of it, it didn't feel like preparation. It felt like destruction. You wondered why everything in your life seemed to be working against you. Why you kept meeting the wrong people, why you faced so much rejection, why no matter how hard you tried, things never seemed to go your way. It was exhausting. It made you doubt yourself, made you question whether you were truly meant for something greater or if you had simply been cursed. The loneliness, the setbacks, the seemingly endless cycle of pain. It felt like an attack you couldn't escape. And the worst part? No one around you understood. People told you to move on, to let go, to stop feeling so deeply. They didn't see what you were truly going through. They didn't realize that this wasn't just an emotional struggle. It was a spiritual transformation. What you thought was meant to break you was actually reshaping you. What you thought was an ending was actually the foundation of a new beginning. Job 23 verse 10 says, "But he knoweth the way that I take. When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold." This is exactly what was happening in your life. You were not being abandoned, you were being refined. Just like gold must go through intense heat to be purified, You had to go through trials to become the person you were destined to be. Every struggle was burning away the parts of you that were not aligned with your highest calling. The people who betrayed you, they were removed so they wouldn't contaminate your destiny. The failures you faced, they were redirections, pushing you toward something far greater than you could have imagined. The isolation, it was never about punishment. It was about drawing you closer to your true purpose, closer to God, closer to the unshakable power that had always been inside you. And now, looking back, you can see it clearly. Nothing was wasted. Every moment of pain had a purpose. Every tear watered the ground you are now standing on. You were not buried. You were planted. And now you are rising. And here's how you know you are stepping into the purpose behind your pain. You no longer feel the weight of what happened the way you used to. The things that once shattered you now seem like distant memories. You are no longer asking, why did this happen to me? But instead, you are seeing how it happened for you. The lessons are becoming clear. The wisdom is settling in. The situations that once had power over you no longer hold the same grip. You are moving differently, thinking differently, responding differently. This is what transformation looks like. It's not just about surviving the storm. It's about realizing the storm was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal your strength. Opportunities are starting to open up. The people you attract into your life now feel different, more aligned, more genuine, more connected to your spirit. You no longer tolerate what you once did. You no longer settle for less. You no longer see yourself as a victim. Instead, you see yourself as someone who was chosen, someone who had to be shaped through adversity to become unshakable. But here's the truth. Not everyone will understand your transformation. Some will say you've changed. Some will resent the fact that you no longer allow the same energy around you. And that's okay. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to fulfill a purpose far greater than you once imagined. You have been tested, but now you are coming forth as gold. No longer weighed down by the past. No longer held back by fear. No longer doubting who you are. Because now, you have seen firsthand how pain can be transformed into power. How suffering can create something unbreakable. And because of that, nothing will ever be the same again. If you understand now that your pain had a divine purpose, comment purpose below. Let the unseen world know that you are no longer trapped by what happened to you. That you see the bigger picture now. That you are stepping into your transformation with full confidence. Because in the next section, I'll show you how to embrace your stronger self and fully walk in the power that was always meant for you. Stay with me because what comes next will change everything. How to embrace your stronger self. You have come too far to turn back now. After everything you've been through, after all the pain, all the lessons, and all the battles, you stand at the threshold of something greater. But now the real test begins. Will you fully embrace the new, stronger version of yourself? Or will you hesitate? Will you shrink back into old patterns, fearing the unknown? Or will you step boldly into the power that has been placed within you? This is where so many chosen ones struggle, not because they lack strength, but because they have grown so used to survival that true freedom feels unfamiliar. You have spent so much time fighting, healing, and breaking free that the idea of stepping into your full power almost feels foreign. But let me remind you of something. They didn't fight so hard to break you for no reason. They saw your strength before you did. They knew who you were becoming before you even realized it. And now that you are here, standing at the edge of your transformation, you cannot afford to let fear hold you back. The time for hesitation is over. But embracing this new version of yourself means letting go of everything that no longer fits. And that is where the struggle lies. Too many chosen ones cling to the past, to the versions of themselves that were built on pain and survival. You have spent years being told who you are, being conditioned to believe that you are not enough, being made to feel small. And now, even though you have healed, even though you have grown, there is a part of you that wonders if you are truly ready, if you are truly worthy. This is the final trick of the enemy, to make you doubt your own transformation, to keep you tied to the version of yourself that was afraid, insecure, and uncertain. But you must recognize that the old you is gone. That chapter has closed. Every trial, every tear, every hardship, none of it was wasted. It all led you to this moment. And now you must make a choice. Will you keep looking back? Or will you finally claim what has always been yours? This is exactly what 2 Corinthians 5 verse 17 speaks to when it says, "Therefore if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new." This isn't just a comforting verse. It's a command. You are not who you used to be. You are no longer defined by your past, no longer bound by old wounds, no longer trapped in the cycles that once held you down. But here's the thing, the world will still try to pull you back. Old temptations will resurface. Familiar faces will return, testing whether you truly believe in the new version of yourself. And if you are not careful, you may find yourself slipping into old habits, not because you are weak, but because stepping into your power requires a level of certainty you may not have fully embraced yet. But God has already declared that you are made new. The only thing left for you to do is walk in it. And here's how you know you are truly stepping into your stronger self. You stop explaining yourself. You stop seeking validation from people who were never meant to understand your journey. You stop entertaining conversations that drain your energy. You stop tolerating environments that no longer align with your purpose. And most importantly, you stop doubting yourself. There is a confidence that comes with true transformation, a knowing that cannot be shaken by outside opinions. When you walk into a room, people feel it. When you speak, your words carry power. When you make a decision, you do so without fear. This is what embracing your stronger self looks like. It's not just about feeling different. It's about moving differently, thinking differently, responding differently. You are no longer the person who second-guesses every step. You are no longer the person who settles for less. You are no longer the person who waits for permission to be great. You are walking in the authority that was always meant for you, but you have to own it. No more shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that are too small for you. No more dimming your light to make others comfortable. No more apologizing for the way you have grown. Some people will not like the new version of you. Some will say you've changed. Some will try to guilt you into going back to who you used to be. But let them talk. Let them misunderstand you. Let them fall away if they must. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your transformation. What you owe yourself is to fully embrace it, to walk in the strength that you fought so hard to gain, to honor the battles you have won by never allowing yourself to go back to what broke you. If you are ready to step fully into your strength, comment stronger below. Let the unseen world know that you are no longer hesitating, no longer holding back, no longer questioning who you are becoming. You have been rebuilt, and now you are claiming everything that was meant for you. And in the next section, I'll show you how to walk fully in your power, how to operate from a place of unshakable confidence, and how to make sure you never lose sight of the force you have become. Stay with me, this is just the beginning. Everything has been leading to this moment. You are no longer broken. You are no longer lost. Now, it's time to walk in the power you were always meant to have. Walking in your new power. Everything you have endured, every challenge you have faced, has led to this moment. The pain, the losses, the betrayals, the seasons of isolation, they were never meant to break you. They were meant to awaken something within you, something unshakable. You may not have seen it then, but now, looking back, you can feel the shift. You are not the same person who once questioned your worth, who once tolerated disrespect, who once feared stepping into the unknown. You have risen from the ashes of your former self, and now there is only one thing left to do: walk in your power, not with hesitation, not with doubt, but with the full understanding that everything that happened to you was preparing you for this. The old you is gone. The weak, uncertain, and fearful version of yourself has been stripped away. What remains is strength. What remains is clarity. What remains is a force that cannot be stopped. But here is where many chosen ones struggle. They have been so conditioned to believe in their own limitations that they hesitate to claim their power. They worry about how others will perceive them. They fear that stepping fully into their strength will push certain people away. And the truth is, it will. Not everyone will be comfortable with the person you are becoming. Some will resent your growth. Others will try to remind you of who you used to be, as if you owe it to them to stay the same. They will tell you that you have changed, and they will say it like it's a bad thing. But here's what you must understand. You did not go through everything you did just to stay the same. You were never meant to remain in the same mindset, the same cycles, the same environments that once drained you. Walking in your power means accepting that some people and some situations can no longer go with you. And that is not something to grieve, it is something to embrace. This is exactly what Micah 7 verse 8 speaks of when it says, "Rejoice not against me, O mine enemy. When I fall, I shall arise. When I sit in darkness, the Lord shall be a light unto me." Your setbacks were never permanent. Every time you were knocked down, you were already marked to rise again. The people who thought you wouldn't recover, they underestimated the God who was working in you. The forces that tried to keep you down, they didn't realize that every attack was making you stronger. And now you are walking in the light of everything you have learned, everything you have become. You no longer operate from a place of fear, but from a place of divine authority. The enemy cannot touch you anymore. The old wounds cannot define you anymore. The insecurities that once controlled you have been silenced. You have stepped into a new dimension of power, and there is no turning back. And here's how you know you are walking in your power. Opportunities that once seemed impossible suddenly appear before you. The relationships that drained you have been replaced with people who genuinely support and uplift you. The doubts that once plagued your mind have been replaced with an unshakable confidence. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself to those who refuse to understand you. You no longer lower your energy to match those who are unwilling to grow. Instead, you walk boldly, knowing that your presence alone shifts the atmosphere. You speak with authority. You move with certainty. You no longer wait for permission to step into the fullness of who you are. You claim it without hesitation. And the world around you takes notice. Some will be drawn to your light, while others will be repelled by it. But either way, you remain unbothered, because you finally understand that your power is not dependent on anyone else's approval. But power comes with responsibility. You must guard what you have built. You must protect your energy. You must continue to grow, to learn, to elevate. Just because you have stepped into your power does not mean the attacks will stop. If anything, they will become more subtle. The enemy knows they can no longer deceive you in the ways they once did, so they will attempt to distract you, to drain you, to test whether you truly believe in the strength you have gained. This is why discernment is key. Pay attention to who and what is allowed access to you. Not everyone who claps for you is truly happy for you. Not everyone who reappears from your past is meant to walk with you in this new season. Walking in your power means knowing when to say no. It means standing firm in your boundaries. It means refusing to entertain anything that lowers your vibration or dims your light. You did not come this far just to be dragged back into old cycles. You are moving forward, and nothing can stop that. If this message has spoken to you, if something deep within your soul has stirred in a way you cannot explain, it is because you are standing on the edge of something greater than you ever imagined. This is not just another passing moment of inspiration. This is a divine awakening. You have felt it, this undeniable shift, the unshakable knowing that you are no longer who you once were. The doubts that once held you captive are losing their grip. The fears that whispered lies into your mind are now being silenced. You are stepping into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. The transformation that has been unfolding in the quiet places of your heart is now demanding to be seen. This is the moment where you declare to the heavens and the earth that you are no longer hiding, no longer doubting, no longer questioning the power that has always been within you. You were never lost. You were only being led through a process that would reveal your true strength. And now it is time to claim it. Comment "I am chosen" below. Let this be your declaration, your affirmation, your bold step into the life that has been waiting for you. Let it be a signal to the heavens that you are no longer playing small, no longer hiding, no longer questioning the power within you. You were set apart. You were destined for something greater, and now you are stepping fully into it. Like this video, share it with someone who needs this message and subscribe, because this journey is only beginning. This is not the end of your transformation. It is the ignition of something even greater. The world may not be ready for what is coming, but you are. You are no longer broken. You are no longer bound. You are no longer waiting for permission to walk in the fullness of who you are. You have been rebuilt. You have been refined. You have been chosen. And now nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you.